They underestimate you. They ignore you. They walk all over you. But not for long, because today, Stoics, you'll learn how to speak so people respect you. When you do, they will never see you the same way again. Respect isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about control. Control over yourself, over your words, and over how they see you. And when you master this, you command a room without saying much at all. Today, we break down 5 signs you command respect when you speak, using the wisdom of the Stoics. If you're serious about mastering self-discipline and power, subscribe now and activate all notifications. Let's get started. The first sign is you don't over-apologize. They have trained you to apologize. Since childhood, you have been conditioned to believe that your words, your presence, and even your existence require justification. You say sorry when someone bumps into you, when you take an extra second to gather your thoughts, when you express an opinion that might make someone uncomfortable. They have made you believe that shrinking yourself is the price of acceptance. But what if I told you that every unnecessary apology steals a piece of your power? The Stoics understood this well. Power is not given, it is projected. And the moment you apologize for something that requires no apology, you project uncertainty. You signal to the world that you seek permission to exist, that you require validation before you can claim your space. But a Stoic does not beg for approval. A Stoic asserts their presence with quiet confidence, knowing that their worth does not depend on external validation. Marcus Aurelius did not spend his time wondering if his words would be well received. He did not dilute his message to make it palatable. Instead, he lived by a simple rule. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Think of the last time you apologized when you didn't need to. Maybe you were in a meeting and began a sentence with, "Sorry, I just wanted to add." Or perhaps you asked a simple question and prefaced it with, "Sorry if this is a dumb question." These small, almost invisible apologies chip away at your credibility. They tell others that you are uncertain, hesitant, and willing to place their comfort above your own self-respect. And make no mistake, people notice. They may not consciously register every apology, but they absorb the message you send. I am not sure if I belong here. Epictetus, a former slave who rose to become one of the most respected philosophers of his time, knew the power of self-possession. He once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The lesson is clear. Stop apologizing for not knowing everything. Stop apologizing for existing in spaces where others have not yet acknowledged your worth. You do not need to seek permission to take up space. You do not need to ask for forgiveness simply because your presence might inconvenience someone who was never meant to lead you in the first place. It is not about arrogance. It is about ownership. You own your thoughts, your voice, and your space. When you stop apologizing for them, people feel the shift. They listen differently. They begin to weigh your words with more seriousness because you are no longer telegraphing self-doubt. You are no longer asking them to validate your right to speak. You are simply speaking. But breaking the habit is not easy. It is deeply ingrained. You have spent years apologizing reflexively, believing that it makes you polite, agreeable, or likable. But does it? Does apologizing for things that require no apology truly make people respect you more? Or does it reinforce the idea that you are someone whose presence must be softened, whose words must be filtered, whose confidence must be tempered? Seneca wrote, "Let not your tongue run ahead of your mind." This does not mean to hold back your words in fear. It means to choose them with intention. When you speak, let every word serve a purpose. And if no apology is needed, do not let one escape your lips out of habit. Instead of saying, "Sorry, I just wanted to add," say, "I'd like to add something." Instead of saying, "Sorry if this is a dumb question," say, "I have a question." These small shifts reshape the way people see you, and more importantly, the way you see yourself. Imagine walking into a room and speaking without hesitation. Imagine removing every unnecessary sorry from your vocabulary and seeing the way people react differently to you. Imagine carrying yourself with the quiet certainty of a person who does not ask for permission, but instead asserts their presence with dignity and strength. This is what it means to speak as a Stoic. This is what it means to command respect. They will notice. They will feel the shift. They may not be able to articulate what has changed, but they will recognize that you are not the same. And some will test you. They will challenge your newfound confidence, waiting for you to slip back into old habits, to apologize for your own authority. Do not give them the satisfaction. Hold firm. Let them adjust to the new reality in which you no longer diminish yourself for their comfort. The weak apologize to be accepted. The strong speak to be heard. The Stoic knows that every unnecessary apology is a debt paid to insecurity, a quiet act of surrender that chips away at their presence. But you are done with that. You no longer seek permission. You no longer need their approval. You have taken back what is yours. Now that you have reclaimed your voice, it is time to ensure that when you do speak, your words are respected. And that begins with something even more powerful than speech itself. It begins with knowing when to say nothing at all. The second sign is you set clear boundaries. They have conditioned you to say yes. Since childhood, you have been taught that saying no is selfish, that refusing someone's request makes you difficult, unkind, or ungrateful. You have been led to believe that your time, energy, and presence belong to others by default, that to be liked, you must be available, agreeable, and willing to accommodate. But every time you say yes when you want to say no, you surrender a piece of yourself. They know it, they expect it, and they will keep taking as long as you let them. A Stoic does not exist to be pulled in every direction by the whims of others. A Stoic understands that time is the most valuable resource, a currency that once spent can never be regained. Seneca warned against this theft when he wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. When you fail to set boundaries, you are not being kind. You are being reckless with the one thing you can never get back. They ask you to stay late at work, and you say yes, though your body is exhausted. They demand your help with something trivial, and you comply, though it derails your own priorities. They talk at you for hours, unloading their problems, their drama, their chaos, while you sit there drained, nodding along, feeling your energy slip away. You tell yourself that being available makes you a good person, but what has it truly given you, besides exhaustion, besides resentment, besides the slow erosion of your own priorities? Epictetus gave simple but brutal advice. If you wish to be in good health, refrain from what makes you weak. Saying yes when you should say no is not generosity. It is weakness. It is the fear of disappointing others. It is the habit of over-explaining, of making excuses, of hoping they will understand why you cannot give them what they want. But a Stoic does not beg to be understood. A Stoic does not over-explain or seek approval for their choices. A Stoic simply makes a choice and stands by it. There is power in a clear, direct no. Not a no wrapped in apologies, not a no softened by unnecessary justifications, but a no that stands firm, unshaken by disappointment or guilt. When someone pushes against your boundary, testing your resolve, they expect hesitation. They expect discomfort. They expect you to bend. But when you do not, when your no is absolute, they feel it, and they adjust. At first, they may resist. They may try to manipulate you, guilt you, paint you as selfish. This is because they are used to a version of you that did not protect your time, that said yes too easily, that allowed them to dictate the terms of your presence. But the moment you stop explaining yourself, the moment you refuse to justify your no, they realize they have no power over you. And that is when they begin to respect you. The test is simple. The next time someone asks for your time, your energy, your compliance, pause. Ask yourself, do I truly want to do this? Will this serve me, my goals, my well-being? Or am I saying yes out of habit, out of fear, out of the need to be liked? If the answer is no, then say it, without hesitation, without explanation. No, I can't. That is all. That is enough. But what about those who cannot accept it? The ones who push, who demand explanations, who try to make you feel guilty? You owe them nothing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Their reaction is not your responsibility. Their disappointment is not your burden to carry. A boundary is not a request for respect. It is a command. And those who do not respect it do not deserve your time. At first, enforcing boundaries will feel uncomfortable. You will feel the urge to soften your words, to explain, to make excuses. But with practice, it becomes second nature, and then something incredible happens. You begin to reclaim your life. You find time for what matters. You surround yourself with people who respect you without requiring you to sacrifice yourself. You move through the world with quiet authority, no longer swayed by guilt or obligation. They will notice. They will feel the shift. Some will resent it, but the right ones will admire it. And you will know, with absolute certainty, that you no longer exist at the mercy of others. You decide where your energy goes. You decide who gets access to you. And when you say no, you mean it. Now that you have set the boundary, now that you have made it clear that your time and energy belong to you, it is time to reinforce that power in an even stronger way. Not with words, but with something even more commanding: silence. Comment boundaries if you refuse to let others control your time. We're just getting started. These next signs separate those who demand respect from those who beg for it. Before we continue, if this is hitting hard, drop a super thanks to support more Stoic content. Now, let's keep going. The third sign is you use silence strategically. They are terrified of silence. Watch them. They fidget. Their eyes dart around the room. Their hands reach for their phones. Their mouths scramble to fill the air with words, any words. A meaningless joke, an unnecessary apology, a comment that serves no purpose but to prevent the unbearable weight of a pause. They believe that speaking keeps them in control, that constant noise makes them seem important. But you know better. You have seen the power of restraint. You understand that silence, when used deliberately, is not emptiness. It is command. Most people speak to be heard. The Stoic speaks to be understood. And for that, words alone are not enough. Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." The same is true for speech. When you talk endlessly, when you rush to fill every gap, your words scatter and lose their weight. But when you pause, when you let silence enter the conversation, it does something they do not expect. It forces them to lean in. It forces them to wait. It forces them to feel the space you have created. And in that space, your presence expands. Think of the last time you witnessed true authority in action. It was not the person who spoke the loudest, nor the one who dominated every conversation with an unbroken stream of words. It was the one who did not need to prove themselves, the one who let their silence build tension, who allowed the weight of a pause to settle in before they spoke. You could feel it, the gravity in their presence, the certainty in their voice when they finally did speak. But why does this work? Why is silence more commanding than words? Because it is rare, because it is uncomfortable, and because those who cannot master it are enslaved by their own insecurity. The undisciplined person speaks without thinking, fearing that if they do not constantly express themselves, they will fade into irrelevance. They blurt out unnecessary justifications, fill conversations with nervous laughter, explain themselves even when no explanation is needed. They cannot bear the idea that someone else might hold the floor in their absence, so they rush to reclaim it, weakening their position with every unnecessary word. The Stoic knows that control is not found in speaking first, but in speaking last. Epictetus warned, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This is not an invitation to ignorance. It is a reminder that silence is often mistaken for weakness by those who do not understand its power. Let them assume. Let them underestimate you. While they reveal themselves with every careless word, you observe. You measure. You decide when and how to speak. And in doing so, you ensure that when you do, your words matter. Consider a negotiation. The weak negotiator cannot stand the silence. When an offer is made, they rush to justify it, to fill the pause with explanations, to weaken their own position by talking themselves into a corner. The strong negotiator waits. They let the offer hang in the air. They watch the other person struggle with the tension, with the absence of reassurance. And more often than not, it is the impatient one who breaks, who caves, who gives away their leverage simply because they could not sit in silence. But this is not just about business. It is about every interaction you have, every conversation where influence is at stake. The next time you are in a disagreement, resist the urge to respond immediately. When they challenge you, let the silence stretch a little longer than they expect. When they push for a reaction, give them none. And when you finally do respond, do so with clarity and precision, as if every word is a calculated move in a game they did not even realize they were playing. There will be moments when silence feels unnatural, when the weight of expectation presses against you, demanding that you speak. This is where most people break. But you are not most people. You understand that silence is a force, that it unsettles, that it compels others to fill the void. And in that moment, they reveal themselves, their insecurities, their doubts, their need for validation. It all surfaces in the empty space you refuse to fill. This is the discipline of a Stoic. It is not just knowing when to speak, but knowing when not to. It is the ability to hold a room without raising your voice. It is the patience to let others exhaust themselves while you remain composed. It is the quiet confidence of a person who does not seek attention but commands it. They will notice. They will wonder why you are different, why you do not rush to speak like everyone else, why your presence carries a weight they cannot define. They will begin to listen, not because you are louder, but because you have made your words rare. And when you master this, you will discover something even more powerful. It is not just about knowing when to be silent. It is about knowing what to say when you finally break it. Because the words you do speak will shape how they see you. And the next lesson is about using those words with precision, wielding them with purpose, and ensuring that when you do choose to speak, your voice is never wasted. Comment silence if you refuse to waste words. The fourth sign is you use humor with purpose. Humor is a powerful force. It can bridge divides, disarm hostility, and draw people into your orbit. But like fire, it must be handled with care. Used skillfully, humor can elevate you, making your words memorable and your presence magnetic. But when misused, it can consume your credibility, leaving nothing but ashes where your authority once stood. Too often, people misunderstand this delicate balance. They think that by turning themselves into the punchline, they are being relatable, approachable, even humble. What they fail to see is that every laugh at their expense is a quiet surrender of respect. They train others to see them as less capable, less serious, less deserving of trust. And they do it willingly, thinking they are winning favor when, in truth, they are undermining their own worth. The Stoics understood the importance of maintaining dignity, even in moments of levity. Epictetus warned, avoid making yourself a subject of laughter, not because laughter itself is dangerous, but because the act of belittling oneself, even in jest, has consequences. When you diminish yourself with self-deprecating humor, you give others permission to do the same. You plant the idea that you are someone who can be taken lightly, someone whose flaws are worth highlighting and whose authority can be questioned. It may seem harmless in the moment, but over time, this habit erodes the foundation of how others perceive you. Picture someone in a leadership role, someone responsible for guiding a team or making important decisions. If they constantly mock their own intelligence or abilities in an effort to seem likable, does it truly inspire confidence? Or does it plant doubt? The same principle applies to any interaction where respect and influence are at stake. Humor, when wielded poorly, can become a double-edged sword. A sharp wit can command attention and admiration, but when turned inward, it can disarm not others, but yourself. This does not mean you must forsake humor entirely. In fact, humor is one of the most powerful tools in communication. It lightens heavy conversations, creates bonds, and can even transform conflict into collaboration. But like all tools, it must be used with purpose. The Stoic approach to humor is rooted in self-awareness and restraint. When you choose to make a joke, it should never come at the expense of your dignity. Instead, it should serve a higher purpose, whether that's to ease tension, build camaraderie, or underscore a point. The aim is to enhance your credibility, not chip away at it. Imagine a speaker addressing a tense audience. The atmosphere is charged, the stakes are high. A well-timed, thoughtful joke can break the tension, drawing everyone in and creating a moment of shared humanity. But if that same speaker resorts to mocking their own mistakes or fumbling over self-deprecating remarks, the effect is entirely different. Instead of commanding the room, they lose control of it. The audience may laugh, but it is not the laughter of respect. It is the laughter of amusement at the speaker's expense. The moment is lost, and so is their authority. In everyday life, this same dynamic plays out constantly. Perhaps you've been in a meeting where someone made a self-deprecating joke, hoping to appear modest, only for it to weaken their argument. Or maybe you've seen someone deflect praise with humor, unable to simply accept a compliment without undermining themselves. These moments seem minor, but they leave an impression. They teach those around you how to treat you, how to perceive you, and ultimately, how much weight to give your words. The challenge lies in breaking the habit. For many, self-deprecating humor feels safe. It's a way to preempt criticism, to appear less threatening, to connect with others by exposing flaws before they can be pointed out. But this safety is an illusion. The respect you lose in these moments is not easily regained. The Stoic way is to seek connection without sacrificing self-respect. True humility does not require you to belittle yourself. Instead, it requires you to stand firmly in your worth, confident enough to uplift others without tearing yourself down. Seneca offered timeless advice when he wrote, "Speech that neither wounds nor flatters is the healthiest." This applies not only to how you speak to others, but to how you speak about yourself. When your humor consistently targets your own flaws, you are not demonstrating humility. You are broadcasting insecurity. Instead, let your humor reflect confidence and intention. Use it to reveal insight, to challenge assumptions, or simply to bring light to the conversation. But never let it make you the subject of ridicule. Think of humor as a mirror. When you turn it outward, it reflects the strength of your wit and the clarity of your mind. When you turn it inward carelessly, it distorts your own image, reducing your presence in the eyes of others. The next time you feel the urge to make yourself the target of a joke, pause. Ask yourself why. Are you doing it because you truly find the situation funny, or because you're trying to make yourself more acceptable, more likable, more approachable? If it's the latter, resist. True strength lies in restraint. The beauty of humor, when used purposefully, is that it draws others in without compromising your position. It creates connection without diminishing respect. A leader who can make others laugh while maintaining their dignity inspires loyalty. A friend who uses humor to uplift rather than deflect creates deeper bonds. And a Stoic who wields humor with intention demonstrates mastery, not only of their wit, but of themselves. They will notice the difference. They will see that your laughter is not a shield, but a tool. That your humor, like your words, is deliberate, purposeful, and aligned with the strength of your character. And the next time you speak, the room will listen, not because you have made them laugh at you, but because you have made them see you for who you truly are. Yet humor is only one way they test you. When they cannot laugh at you, they will try to pull you into their whispers and schemes, expecting you to participate, to betray your own values for the sake of belonging. But you are stronger than that. You know that the greatest power lies not in what you say, but in what you refuse to say. The next lesson will reveal how the words you do not speak can shape the respect you command. Now, here's where the weak are truly exposed. The final sign is a test, one that separates the masters of speech from those who will always be overlooked. If you pass it, they will never forget your words. The final sign is you avoid gossip and overtalking. They believe their words give them power. They believe that by speaking often and loudly, by sharing secrets or spreading rumors, they will draw others closer, become indispensable, gain influence. But this is an illusion. The person who speaks without restraint does not project strength. They reveal their weakness. Words, like water, must be channeled with care. A steady, purposeful stream carves mountains. A flood, wild and indiscriminate, leaves only destruction. The weak cannot control their tongues, and in their rush to fill the silence, they expose their own insecurities. Gossip, over-talking, endless chatter. It all comes from the same place, a desperate need to matter, to belong, to feel significant. But a Stoic knows that significance is not something you seek in others. It is something you cultivate within yourself. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply when he wrote, "Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue." A stumble in action may embarrass you in the moment, but it is fleeting, forgotten with time. A stumble with your words, however, can leave a lasting mark. Words cannot be taken back. Once spoken, they live outside of you, carrying the weight of your intentions or your carelessness into the world. To speak recklessly is to give away pieces of yourself to people who may twist, misunderstand, or use them against you. This is why a Stoic values restraint. To speak with purpose is to guard your credibility, your trustworthiness, and your inner peace. Think of a time when someone pulled you into gossip. Perhaps it was framed innocently, a casual comment about someone who wasn't present, a suggestion that you share your opinion on their actions or character. In that moment, you felt the pull, the sense of camaraderie that gossip creates, the fleeting satisfaction of being included in someone else's secrets. But what happens next? You walk away from the conversation with a hollow feeling, wondering what they will say about you when you're not in the room. You've gained nothing of value. You've only chipped away at your integrity, allowing yourself to be dragged into a game that benefits no one. Gossip is an insidious trap. It masquerades as connection, but it breeds distrust. It creates bonds built not on mutual respect, but on shared negativity. And when you participate, you tell others that you are willing to betray someone else's confidence. What they don't tell you is this: if you gossip with them, they know you will gossip about them. You lose their trust the moment you join in, even if they never say it outright. They see you as someone who can be easily swayed, easily manipulated, easily controlled. And once you earn that reputation, it is almost impossible to undo. The challenge, of course, is that gossip is everywhere. It is woven into the fabric of social interactions, from casual conversations at work to long talks with friends. The temptation to join in is strong because it feels harmless. After all, what's the harm in sharing an opinion about someone who isn't present? But as Seneca observed, the most disgraceful kind of loss is that due to carelessness. Gossip is carelessness with your words, a failure to protect the dignity of others and, by extension, your own. Every time you resist the urge to gossip, you strengthen your character. You demonstrate that you are someone who can be trusted, someone who does not need to tear others down to build themselves up. Over-talking is another side of the same coin. Those who speak endlessly, filling every silence with their voice, believe they are asserting dominance. But in reality, they are broadcasting insecurity. The Stoics taught that silence is often more powerful than speech. When you over-explain, overshare, or dominate conversations with a torrent of words, you dilute your message. You give away too much, leaving nothing of value for others to hold on to. Restraint, on the other hand, creates intrigue. It signals that you do not feel the need to justify yourself, to fill the air for the sake of being heard. You speak only when you have something worth saying, and because of this, your words carry weight. Imagine two people in a meeting. One speaks constantly, interrupting others, repeating themselves, eager to make their voice the loudest in the room. The other speaks rarely but with intention. When they do speak, the room falls quiet. People lean in, eager to hear what they have to say. The difference is clear. One person seeks attention, the other commands respect. The former is exhausting, the latter compelling. This is the power of restraint. It is not about saying less to appear mysterious or distant. It is about knowing when your voice is needed and when it is not. The test is simple, yet difficult in practice. The next time someone tries to pull you into gossip, pause. Feel the pull, the urge to join in, to share your thoughts, to feel included. And then refuse. Change the subject, deflect with silence, or walk away if you must. Watch how they react. Some will be uncomfortable. Others may be angry, seeing your refusal as a rejection of their offer. But what they will also feel, though they may not admit it, is respect. They will realize that you are someone who does not betray others, who does not waste words, who does not stoop to the level of tearing others down for fleeting satisfaction. The same goes for over-talking. Practice silence. When you feel the need to explain yourself unnecessarily, resist. When you feel the urge to fill the pause in a conversation, let it stretch. Sit in the discomfort of silence and watch what happens. More often than not, others will fill the space, revealing themselves while you remain composed. And when you do choose to speak, your words will carry more weight because they are rare, deliberate, and meaningful. This discipline is not easy. It requires you to confront your own insecurities, your own desire to be liked, to be included, to feel important. But the reward is worth it. By avoiding gossip and over-talking, you become someone others can trust, someone whose words are valued rather than dismissed. You protect not only your credibility but your peace of mind, knowing that you have nothing to regret, nothing to take back, nothing to apologize for. They will notice. They will see that you are different, that you do not need to speak to be seen, that you do not need to tear others down to build yourself up. And they will respect you for it. But the question remains, can you pass the test? Can you rise above the temptation to gossip, to overshare, to speak for the sake of speaking? Or will you fall back into old habits, letting your words scatter like leaves in the wind? The choice is yours. If you master these 5 signs, they will never look at you the same way again. Respect is not demanded with volume. It is earned through control, intention, and discipline. You do not have to shout to be heard. You do not have to be liked to be respected. You only need to master yourself. Now, Stoics, I challenge you. Pick one sign and implement it today. Which one will you start with? Drop a comment below. If you're serious about mastering self-control and power, subscribe now. The next lesson will change everything. Until next time, stay stoic.